Hey guys, today I want to talk to you for a few minutes about courage. What is courage? I was thinking about this the other day, and I kept thinking about how courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is not that you're not afraid, it's what you do when you are afraid. Courage is pushing through even in the face of fear. It's not about I'm I'm courageous because I'm not scared. I'm courageous because even though I'm scared, I'm going to do it anyway. And Deuteronomy 31, 6 through 8, it says, "Be strong and courageous." Most people know this scripture. "Do not fear or be in dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you." Then Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in the sight of all Israel, "Be strong and courageous, for you shall go with this people into the land the Lord has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you shall put them in possession of it. It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed." So here we see Joshua is about to take over leadership of all these people that God had sent Moses in to rescue, bring them out of Egypt, and has led them through the wilderness. Now they're about to transition into taking over the promised land, but now it's Joshua's turn at the command. So why is God telling Joshua, be strong and courageous? He says it more than once. We see in Joshua chapter 1, 6 through 9, it says, "Be strong and courageous." Here we go again. "For you shall cause this people to inherit the land that I swore to their fathers to give them." So he's telling Joshua, look, it's going to be you that brings the people into this promised land. It's a transition from the wilderness to the promised land, and coming out of bondage and through that time in the wilderness where Moses did a great job. He was a good leader. And now it's time for Joshua to step up. And he says in verse 7, "Only be strong and very courageous. Be careful to do according to all the law that Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or the left, that you may have good success. The book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that's written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and you will have good success." And verse 9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous." We see this theme over and over of God speaking to Joshua. He says, "Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." So kind of put yourself in Joshua's shoes for a minute. Imagine following this leader for many, many years. A good leader. He may have been a great leader. Someone who had a heart for the people, who interceded for the people, fought for the people, but also had a heart for God. And he was a leader that spoke to God face to face, someone who could go to God and get answers, someone who you personally saw God work miracles through. I mean, think about the 10 plagues, think about the Red Sea, the manna, the water from the rock. I mean, all these things, even when things seemed impossible, Moses would go to God and he would get the answer, and God would work miracles through him. I mean, up to this point, it would have just been amazing, all the things that you've seen God do through Moses. The wisdom that he gave to him. Went up on the mountain for 40 days without food and water and came back down with the law. All these things. And now, even though God had done all these incredible things through Moses, now God's saying, now it's your turn. So put yourself in his shoes, that you have kind of relied on Moses. You've been right there at his right hand. You've been one that's been involved in all this. You've been in the tent when he prayed. You've seen God move. And Moses was the go-to guy. And now God's saying, now it's your turn. His time is up. Now you are the leader. You're going to lead a stubborn group of people. You're going to face giants, and you're going to be in unfamiliar territory. You're no longer going to be able to go to someone and say, what do we do now? Because you are going to be that person. No wonder Joshua had to be told over and over, be strong and courageous. And we're talking about being courageous today. God tells us that same thing. He says, in the face of danger, be courageous. And maybe you're not leading a people into unfamiliar territory. Maybe you're not facing literal physical giants, but courage shows up every day. We have the chance to stand in the face of fear and be courageous all the time. And what we do in the face of fear matters. It may be a phone call you have to make. It may be something that a family member is dealing with. It may be a medical problem that you're facing. It could be just getting out of bed some days. Sometimes it takes courage just to climb out of bed to face the day. And I think we overlook that way too often. But all of us have our own battles. We all have our giants, so to speak, that we have to face. And just like Joshua, sometimes it's on us. There's not someone that's going to be there to tell you exactly what to do and when to do it. There's not going to be someone there to work the miracles. There's not going to be someone there that you can trust and rely on that's going to get you through it. It may be just you and God. It may come down to you're the only person other than God. And what you do in the face of that, it may be scary. It may be terrifying. There are things that I know that me and my family have had to face, and I know you and yours, and they're scary. You're like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get through it? And the courage isn't in the fact that you're just like, oh, we got this, and I'm not worried about it. The courage is in the fact when you can tell God, listen, I am terrified. I don't know what to do, but we're going to face this head on. And I'll tell you what, problems that you don't deal with don't just go away. They usually just multiply and get bigger. And I've seen this in my own life because that was my coping mechanism for a long time. When a problem would show up, I would just want to be like, we'll deal with that later, because I didn't really want to face it. I just thought that maybe if I just put it over here long enough, it may just go away on its own. But 99% of the time, that problem I put over here, before I know it, it was right back here again, right in front of me, and it had grown substantially. Now I'm not just dealing with this little thing, now I'm dealing with this huge problem. So we need to be people who face problems head on. We need to be people who are courageous, and we will just take the battle. We will take the giant, we will take the mountain. Like Caleb said when he was 80 years old, he's like, hey, I heard that mountain over there is full of giants and a fortified city. He said, give it to me, I'll take it. We need to have that kind of fortitude that even when we face something that's scary, that we will hit it head on. I keep thinking about, and I think Christy posted a video of this, that fear has two meanings. And I forget the first one, but what is it? Now, of course, I was going to mention it and I just forgot it. Face everything and rise, or something like that. Because anytime we encounter fear, we have those two choices. We can either run, or we can rise up above it, and with God on our side, we can take the land, we can defeat the giant, we can go headlong into it, and we can be victorious because our God has already been victorious. Be strong and courageous. That's what God says to us in the face of fear, in the face of some of our hardest battles. Be strong and courageous. It's on you. It's up to you to stand up. You're not always going to have someone to hold your hand. Philippians 1:27 and 28, only let your manner of life be worthy of the gospel of Christ, so that whether I come and see you or I'm absent, I may hear of you, that you're standing firm in one spirit, with one mind, striving side by side for the faith of the gospel. So we stand firm, striving, and he says in verse 28, not frightened in anything by your opponents. This is a clear sign. So these things that he mentioned, this is a clear sign to them of their destruction, your opponents, but of your salvation, and that from God. So God calls on us And I mean, we have many reasons to look around and be fearful, many reasons to look around and be depressed or be discouraged. But God says, no, be strong, be courageous, stand firm in your faith, knowing that you've got a God on your side that created this whole thing. I mean, He speaks and stars are created. He spoke life into existence. So these problems that we worry about are not too big for Him. They may be too big for us, but with Him on our side, nothing's impossible. With man, it may be impossible, but with God, all things are possible. Remember that. Be strong and courageous. Until next time, we'll see you soon.